sports.
Well, I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see. It looks something like this.
Behind me is the 1984 Alfa Romeo Marlboro Dany Snobeck homage GTV6. It's a vintage car we race in SVRA here in the United States, Indianapolis, Road Atlanta, Rolling Road, VIR. Was the production championship in France 3 years in a row. It's kind of like a Group A type of car, FIA Group A. So there were two drivers, Dany Snobeck, which has his name on this door, and Alan Cadini was his other co-driver. And they were sponsored by Marlboro, raced throughout Europe, based in France, and they made some very powerful and very fast GTV6s. They were carbureted with six ITBs, and about 320 horsepower output out of a 2.5 liter. But the car won virtually everything it got involved with, and it raced at Le Mans, Magny-Cours, Spa, just all around Europe, and was a very successful winning car during those years. We have built the entire car ourselves with the help of a couple of friends, but we don't utilize the regular fabrication shop that's known for restoring old cars. We just kind of took the project on ourselves and followed it all the way through, and so it's been a lot of fun doing that too. This car has a live drive shaft, so when the motor's idling, the drive shaft's turning, clutch is in the rear, the disc brakes are inboard like a Formula One car.
I'll just be able to pop the hatch and bleed the brakes without even jacking up the car. Because like if you look inside the wheel, there's no caliper or rotor or anything like that. It's just a shaft.
And the differential clutch and everything, of course, is in the back as opposed to having your transmission in the front. It's in the back. It's kind of a unique design, very well balanced, 50-50 balance.
In the same note, you know, you get to go out on the track and drag the brakes, and your transmission's warm pretty quick by the time you get to end of pit lane. So that's a luxury.
Okay. I designed my own front suspension for it based on what was used in Europe. So I created my own pro shocks for it, and coilovers, created utilizing a sickle design upper control arm that's very specialized for this car, and just little tricks that you can bring into the project here and there. I was looking online to try and figure out what I wanted to do for graphics, and just fell in love with the Marlboro livery. This livery represents what this car was between 1981 and 1983 as raced in France. My son Chase painted it outside the building in the gravel.
I just figured we could probably tackle it. This is my first paint job. We painted in the gravel right in front of the shop bay. So I had a little learning curve with the paint and body.
And then we color sanded and rubbed it out for about 3 weeks after that. And it is a Marlboro Penske color, owned by Roger Penske. The Indy cars are painted in the exact same paint as this. It's still readily available here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's got 2 seats in it. It's wired for 2 head microphones, and so the passenger can wear his helmet and hear and speak to you, and you can speak to him. So it's fun taking people on ride-alongs. The roll cage took us, I think, 2 months or so to get that completed, and then it went together pretty quickly after that. So about 6 months overall. Had to learn how to work on Italian motors compared to small block Chevys, which is similar with a GTV6 or a Spider or any Alfa. If you just work on them backwards in reverse of how you normally work on a car, you can pretty much get them straightened out and make them run, and it's been a lot of fun.
Like a bit of an accident, because it was really supposed to be a parts car that supported Glenn's street going GTV6. So, this one was involved in an accident as a street car, and we were going to take all the pieces to make the other one survive. So we can actually show that car too.
It all started with the Spider convertible. That's a 91 Alfa Romeo, and really liked that car. And I started looking at the lines of the GTV6 on the internet, and it had kind of that Pantera front fender look that I really liked. And the more I looked at them, I just kind of fell in love with them. And at that point, I said, I think I'm going to get one of these. And one day I told the wife I'm going to run down to Alabama, actually, and picked up 2 GTV6s. And we trailered the wrecked car behind me back. And I drove the other GTV6 home and just kind of fell in love with them. It's a disease like any other. So
yeah, so this is the GTV6 that was meant to survive from the other parts until we noticed that that GTV6 really wasn't too bad off underneath. Especially, it had been restored prior to being wrecked. It was literally wrecked on the way home from the restoration shop. So it was supposed to be a parts car for this one. Yeah, these things are cool, man. They're really weird. You don't see them these days, obviously. Yeah. They sort of have that 80s New York lawyer thing going on, so they've got that weird sharp wedge shape.
Nobody knows what it is, so it's kind of like you're driving something that's very rare. Only 690 ever came to the States, I believe, and in 1986, the last year of importation. So it's a rare bear. Most of them rusted away or crashed. Yeah. And so there's not a whole lot of survivors. The car was originally featured with some pictures on Bring a Trailer, with an article on Bring a Trailer. The car had been wrecked on the way home from the body shop, and it ended up at Copart's auction in Atlanta, Georgia. And when I bought my street version off of eBay, the crashed car came as a parts car. So I bought it just as a parts car. And it sat on a trailer here at the property for about 6 months, sitting on a trailer covered with snow. And then when spring came around, I looked at it, I said, geez, maybe we should make a vintage car out of it. And, it's just too nice to wreck and send to its final place. So we turned it into a race car. We do have a larger motor, a backup motor that still needs to be freshened up. Half a liter bigger, a 3-liter motor. So we do have that available. There are larger camshafts that we're able to put in. Every little bit of horsepower you can garner out of these things is what you need, because in stock form, I think it's good for about 159 horsepower when it was brand new. And so, it's not a lot of horsepower for 2,800 pounds. It's like driving a giant go-kart. It handles wonderfully. It does not have a whole lot of power, but it makes a beautiful sound. I mean, the Busso GTV6 is renowned around the world, and its tone. And when you wind them up at 7,000 RPM, they make a wonderful song. And so it is fun. The crowd likes the sound. Like the durability, really, and normally that's not something you say about an Alfa Romeo, but this one, knock on wood, has been very reliable. Wrapping out. We've had one suspension failure on it due to a bolt that got overloaded and broke, but drop the suspension on it. But other than that, it's been a very reliable car.
You got your radiator fan on?
Yeah, I'm at 190, but it's taking the shit. It's stalled.
Of motorsports. I think we ran out of gas because she's a thirsty girl. Let's go find out. Just driving it around and giving her the business, and I think maybe that made it so the fuel sort of starved a little bit. Well, what happened? Did it run out of gas?
I don't know, I gotta probe it and see it.
It doesn't have like a gas gauge or anything like that. Race cars don't. So
Some gas. Fuel, yeah, it was acting like what it was doing there when we were running out of fuel. At Indianapolis where it was just crapping off.
Dude, it sounded so good. My eardrum like just blew out like when it came up
Really?
on the side of the truck and you were on the gas, and it was just an explosion of sound.
It's loud.
So loud.
It's really loud.
It's crazy.
We, from time to time, have had, I guess it would be called electrical gremlin of some kind, and I don't know if it's a little temp sending unit or what it is in there that sometimes gives up the ghost. And it's really no rhyme or reason. I mean, most of the time it runs just fine, but sometimes it'll just crap out like it's out of fuel, but looks like we still got quite a few gallons in there. So must be some sensor that's just not communicating right with the rest of the system and shuts it down.
I think I know what happened. I think that it's Italian, so you know, it's just the nature of the beast. It's going to happen, right? I'm excited for our next upgrade. Is hopefully going to actually address things like that. We're going to do the Mega Squirt, and having the new electronics and new engine management will pretty much make things like that go away, non-existent. Because we're going to delete most of those sensors. So.
I mean, it's a 35-year-old computer. It's a 35-year-old air door on the intake. And the sensors have been replaced, but those two components are original, and who knows what they do, you know?
Yeah.
It's great. This will be its third season once we get back to running here after COVID, and it's just really been enjoyable, again, to go out with the guys, with my sons, and race it.